Our headline again, our final power rankings give power in the House to the Republicans. The GOP is over the magic number, and here's we go, and here is why. As Mike was showing there, this is the Democratic side of the ledger, this is the Republican. All the toss-ups here in gold denoted here, they're all on the Democratic side, so you've got a really tall order to try to hold on the power. You might be better off buying a lotto ticket because right now it's stacked up against you when it comes to the issues, as we have seen now in all these polls for several months now, okay? Advance at one time here. Best case for Republicans now, 249. That would be a gain of about 37 seats. That would be a pretty good argument for a red wave now in 2022. On the Senate side, this has not changed in more than a month. We believe Democrats are solid in 47 seats. Republicans are solid in 49. You still have these four toss-ups that'll explain what we're going here on the map in a moment here. But best case scenario for Republicans. Remember Rick Scott over the weekend said he believes and predicts that Republicans will gain 52 seats, maybe more. Well, this is where he's getting that. Best case scenario at 53. However, Dems still have a chance here to keep the majority in the Senate at 51 Democrats. That's how we break it down as of now. One more map I'll show you here and tell you why. If you look at the Eastern time zone and all these races, okay, in yellow are the clear toss-ups, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona. But you see the shades of red in here? The shades of red is where the action will be come election night next Tuesday night. These are lean Republican. We believe Ron Johnson has the edge in Wisconsin. We believe J.D. Vance has the edge in Ohio. We believe Ted Budd has the advantage in North Carolina. But who votes? Who turns out? That will determine the ultimate outcome in these razor-thin margins here. And again, a lot about PA and Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. What you don't see on this map is what Republicans have been talking about for the last week. They think they're in play in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is shaded in blue as a lean Democrat. That could be, again, it could be one of the surprises come election night. With that as a backgrounder, let's bring in our team. Josh Kraushaar, Kellyanne Conway. Hello to both of you. Josh, you go first. Do you care to argue what we see and present, or do you care to confirm?
This is a pretty important development on the political map, Bill, and it's clear that Republicans have the political momentum 1 week to go until Election Day. A lot of those House races you're talking about, those are Biden districts that are moving a little bit in that lean Republican category. The projection is for about 23 pickups for the Republicans, which would, by any definition, constitute a Republican wave election. The bigger question, Bill, is on that Senate map where the macro environment is definitely with the Republican Party, but there's still some questions about the Republican candidates in states like Pennsylvania and Georgia, and also the state of Nevada, Arizona as well. Pennsylvania is going to be the key battleground among all the big early calls, all the big East Coast states. That's the bellwether of bellwethers. But I would also pay attention to the three states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada. Whichever party takes two of those three Senate races is very, very likely to hold the Senate majority.
Kellyanne Conway, so good to have you here. So top issues to voters nationwide in our poll, inflation and higher prices, 89%, crime at 79%, and yet you had the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, suggests that it was a conspiracy, that people thought crime was real.
That's right, and that will cost her. I think it's a blunder of a proportion that we saw from Terry McAuliffe a year ago when he basically said, I'm not going to make the parents tell the teachers what to teach the kids. So people will remember that. Lee Zeldin has made crime a centerpiece. And, you know, Dana, crime is one of those issues where reality is reality. People see folks being pushed on the subway tracks. They know people are victims of random violence. And crime is also a perception is reality. So it's confounding that the governor of New York would not see that and express it. So back to the map, I think that the projections by Fox News and the power rankings and what Bill and you and Josh have said are all correct in this way. That's a real governing majority for Republicans. That's not just a squeaker night where then you have to find a couple Democratic votes here and there to pass anything. This will be a larger governing majority than Speaker Pelosi has had for the first 2 years of the Biden presidency. And really rolling out Barack Obama is a great idea. He's a popular messenger, but he has a very pessimistic message. This is not vintage Obama, hope and change. It seems like he's on a recovery and rescue mission. And instead of attacking the issues, attacking crime, attacking inflation, he seems to be attacking Republicans. And that's really what the Democratic Party, beginning with President Biden, have done. Last point about the Wall Street Journal poll that just came out. I'm just amazed. The Republicans are up 2 points in the generic ballot. Biden's got a 55% disapproval. But the most important shift in that poll, according to the Wall Street Journal, is that suburban women, 20% of the electorate, have shifted 26 points to the Republicans, and working-class Latino voters are now also voting Republicans. That's not just a Republican wave. That's a realignment of voters to a conservative philosophy.
And that, I just read that right before the show started about those changes that they've seen in the last 6 weeks, basically, as maybe people were paying more attention. They decided to go where they're going. Josh, to Kellyanne's point, it's like this political realignment kind of on both sides seems to be working in the Republicans' advantage, but with President Obama going to all those stops, is that too little too late for the Democrats?
Well, number one, working class voters of all backgrounds, of all races, are moving a lot more towards the Republican Party. And if Republicans have a big election night, it's going to be on the backs of Hispanic voters who have moved more towards the Republican Party. It's going to be small shifts in the African-American vote, maybe more open to supporting some Republican candidates. It doesn't take a whole lot of movement for that to make a big impact on the political map. So, we've been talking about the New York governor's race. How is a state like New York so competitive? It's not just the suburbs. It's the fact that a lot of voters in the city, disenchanted with the high crime, a lot of them non-white voters are moving towards Lee Zeldin, moving toward the Republican in that race. And you're seeing that pattern across the board in many of these battleground states. So if Republicans are able to make inroads even more so with the working class voters, with Hispanic voters, you're going to see a big red wave election.
Yeah. Last point here, Kellyanne, don't overlook Pennsylvania. Both parties see it as their way to control the future for the U.S. Senate. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette endorsed Barack Obama in 2008, Barack Obama in 2012, Hillary Clinton in 2016. They went for Trump in 2020. But now they're endorsing Dr. Mehmet Oz. And a big reason for that, and their explanation is that, show us your medical records. And if you don't, you give us the impression you have something to hide. Last point on that.
Yes. Hey, Bill, it's a remarkable endorsement. I read it twice this morning. And Donald Trump was the first Republican to receive the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette endorsement since 1972. And the reason they gave it at the time was his economic record and his record on trade. This is Western Pennsylvania. That's a very important issue, obviously. Two things about this. In that endorsement of Mehmet Oz, they say that Fetterman's health may not be the issue, but the issue is this, quote, impulse to conceal and a mistrust of voters. And they basically say he doesn't have a job with many responsibilities. They feel Oz in that debate, but also overall in releasing his own medical records, is just being more transparent and forthcoming with the voters, which is important to voters. I think that that congressional district with Summer Lee and the new Mike Doyle is actually in play. It's a bluer district than the state of Washington. It's been held by a popular Democratic legislator for years, but the NRCC is investing money there because now you've got this endorsement of Oz. I think Western Pennsylvania is in play.
Okay, that's why we play the games, right? To find out. Great stuff, Josh and Kellyanne. Thank you for
so much.
coming on today.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.